안녕하세요 여러분, 인도스탁신아입니다. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be reacting to some dark K-pop secrets that might be true. Now heads up, might be true, okay? So don't come at me or the original video creator saying what kind of rumors are you spreading and blah blah blah. These are just theories which might or might not be true. So I thought it was interesting, and why not watch it with you guys. So without further ado, let's get right into the video.
The bizarre truth behind cake dropping. There are many compilations of idols dropping their cakes while they're in the middle of celebrating something. Seriously, how does that cake manage to slide off the damn box almost every time? But rather than chalking it up to idols being clumsy, what if there's something darker going on behind the scenes? Well, according to a theory that has been circulating around the internet lately, idols might be dropping these cakes on purpose. The strict diets they go through are nothing new to K-pop fans, so what if in order to hide the fact that they're dieting, they drop the cake, you know, accidentally, so that they don't have to eat it? There are just way too many instances of cake dropping for it all to be a coincidence, and it really leaves you thinking, what's the truth? Horror diet. Speaking of unhealthy dieting habits, this theory takes things to a total extreme. Throughout history, some models have used illegal substances to stay in shape for their jobs because it makes them lose their appetite. The rumor has it that K-pop trainees might be unfortunately using the same method so they can endure the training process and conform to the unhealthy beauty standards. Again, this is only just a theory, but considering the things trainees make themselves go through just so they can become idols, it may not be too far-fetched, and the industry is really dark behind closed doors. The
I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this one. So it's true that the K-pop diets are like really harsh, and so many like dietitians have also reviewed these K-pop diets and have told that it's not a good way of living. So but I'm not getting into that. It's like, I understand it's a glam world and they have to be in shape and they have to have beautiful skin, etc. But I don't think this cake dropping theory is true, because to me it generally feels like it's because the idols or the idol trainees are clumsy, or it's just an accident. I don't think they would drop a cake on purpose because they can't eat it, because then they could simply not eat it, because the whole world knows that K-pop idols do diet. So they could just cut it for the show and then say that, oh, I won't eat it, I'm on a diet, and then just distribute it to the staff or something. So to me this does not make sense at all. Let me know in the comments, does it make sense to you guys? Okay, next.
Scandal-free life of BTS. Don't you guys think it's a little bit weird that BTS members haven't had any scandals, like, ever? Even the so-called scandals they were involved in were honestly pretty ridiculous. Like the time fans spotted a protection in the back of Jin's photo. When asked about the lack of any paparazzi photos, Dispatch answered that the members were always together, so they eventually gave up on following them. While this is very on brand for BTS, especially when knowing how close they are, fans think that a secret eventually gave up on following them. While this is very on brand for BTS, especially when knowing how close they are, fans think that a secret alliance is actually the reason the boys have been squeaky clean for 8 years. Since Dispatch has exposed everyone's dirty laundry except for BTS, some people think that Big Hit might have a deal with Dispatch to sweep the boys' dirt under the rug. That's why there are never any reporters following them, and also an alleged reason for the lack of any scandals. We don't know anything for sure, but you guys must admit that this whole thing smells a little bit fishy. EXO knew.
I don't know about this one as well, but I think it's possible because it's true. Dispatch is like that neighborhood auntie who keeps nazar on everybody and what they are doing. So it's a little, doesn't sit right with me that there's not one article on BTS that Dispatch has published. But again, the boys might be like really clean and do not do things that can be covered by Dispatch. These are really confusing.
About Kris Wu's scandals. EXO's name keeps getting unfairly dragged down whenever Kris Wu comes up in the media, but everyone has good reasons to believe they cut Kris Wu off long before the scandal broke out. Kris left the group in 2014, but the other members seemed glad about it. Not exactly the kind of reaction you'd expect from his bandmates, but seeing the accusations Kris has been swept up in, everyone seems to think that maybe they knew something beforehand. They unfollowed Kris on their SNS accounts, and Kris basically made it public that they were no longer in contact. Chanyeol's Vogue caption for the picture he posted after Kris members left is also raising a few questions because it read, encourage the good, punish the evil. Sure, he might have been disappointed, but you can't say him leaving was evil. So what if Chanyeol and the others knew about Chris being a predator and decided to drift off before it was too late? Fake dating news.
I think this one is very much possible. I mean, that it is true because Crespo's scandal was like a huge thing, and we as fans or the public might not know everything, but as group members who are close to the person who was the predator, they might have known it way before and might have cancelled him or maintain their distance from him beforehand because they knew that this was going to happen, and if it will happen all of a sudden, it will be difficult to suddenly cut off because then they also have to think about the PR activities, the fans, etc., and a lot more things. So I think this one has a 99% chance of being true.
The K-pop industry might be wary of relationships, but that didn't stop some iconic couples like Kai and Jennie, Taeyeon and Baekhyun, or Crush and Joy from happening. These idols look happy and in love, but the reason for their relationships are rumored to be less than pure. Sure, it may all be an accident that the days the relationships were exposed perfectly coincide with the days big scandals broke out in the political or entertainment scene of Korea. But is there a thing as too many coincidences? Celebrities have been used to cover up political scandals since celebrity culture basically started. I mean, isn't it funny how Dispatch came out with the news of Jennie and G-Dragon allegedly dating in the same day as it was revealed that the deceased Seoul mayor was facing sexual accusations before he took his own life? That was also around the time all the allegations about idols harming their classmates in middle school started popping up. The news about both Jihyo and Daniel and Heechul and Momo were revealed when the Korean population started growing uneasy with North Korea's nuclear weapon testing and South Korea's leadership. What a better way to distract them than dating news? All of this is just making me curious if these couples are actually real and what couples are a front for all these horrible things going on in South Korea. Groups forced.
Oh my god. That totally makes sense, no? I don't know how true it is again, but that makes sense that if it is true that these kind of things are being done to distract the South Korean public from what is going on politically. But again, I don't think people are that foolish, and again, not all of the people might be like into K-pop, right? So I don't know, I don't think they would do this to hide the political matters completely, because there are so many people who are not into K-pop. What about them? What will you do to distract them? So I don't know, but it is making sense to me. If I want to do more research on this actually, if there is a dating news every time around something like this politically happens, I think then maybe, and if it is, it's kind of a smart way, but I don't know how right it is to do that ethically. So anyways, next point.
To disband. Companies have failed girl groups way too much for it to be considered normal. We can call it self-sabotage at this point, because why would you mismanage the groups that bring so much profit? It makes no sense whatsoever. GFriend is a clear-cut example of this, and if you ask me, they were keeping the lights on at Source Music and they disbanded. Just like that. But knowing how much the members loved being on stage and promoting together, fans thought it was sus that none of them renewed their contracts. We have already talked about a post that circulated on online forums that only added to the suspicions. According to this post, the GFriend members were actually forced to disband by the company. Allegedly, Source Music informed the members that they would be disbanding in late May, and they weren't given a say in whether they wanted to stay together or not. Source Music had already made plans to make a new girl group when the girls disbanded. Their decisions to get rid of GFriend of all groups to debut another one instead of managing both groups is difficult to understand. But considering the history of Source Music, Pledis, Cube, and many more companies, it's nothing we didn't expect. Stay in the...
I don't really know much about this, but I think it's possible that companies, entertainment companies may force a certain group under them to disband, for many reasons. If they don't do well, or if they're doing too well than any other group that is again under the company. So I think it's quite possible. I'm not sure about GFriend in particular, but I think entertainment companies are kind of capable of doing that.
closet. South Korea is not exactly the most progressive country when it comes to LGBTQ plus rights. The Korean citizens too aren't very tolerant when it comes to the members of the LGBTQ plus community, especially when they happen to be public figures, which is really ironic when it was actually revealed that agencies encourage male idols to engage in the so-called gay fan service. So the quote-unquote aesthetics of being LGBT are accepted, encouraged even, but being actually gay is where they draw the line? Interesting. Academic Kwon Jung-min said it best. On the one hand, it looks like the industry is very open-minded to shipping culture. On the other hand, they're not that much. If you come out, your fans will be so infuriated. This is probably the reason why idols who are part of the community have to hide their identities, so they can fuel fan fantasies while also keeping their careers from being destroyed by the conservative population. This doesn't stop them from showing support to the community from time to time, but that's the most they can do. Let's hope this changes over time.
Yeah, I think again this is also a big thing that I've also noticed in the K-pop industry. They do seem like they support the LGBTQ community, but it'll be a big thing if they become like publicly a part of that community. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of idols have to hide. There are some bold ones who just come out and tell the whole world what it is. Like, it is what it is. But I don't think it's normalized yet in the K-pop industry. I think that's it for today's video. There are a few more points, but my battery percentage is so low, so I will probably make a part 2. If you like this video, let me know if you want a part 2, and let me know how many of these do you all think are true and how many of these do you all think are just bullshit. So that's it for today's video. I hope you all liked it, and I'll see you all pretty soon. Annyeong.